The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
To be able to see if my volume if my levels are coming up. No audio still. Oh man. Robo voice. All right, we're good. Welcome to the Puck Portfolio for Thursday, November 23rd. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends, except the New York Islanders and their fans. You guys can all go to hell. I mean, just tear this whole franchise down. You're never going to win a Stanley Cup in a million years. You might be good enough to make the playoffs, squeak in, steal a spot, knock a team or two off that actually might have a chance at winning the Stanley Cup, and just ruin everybody's time, waste everybody's freaking time. So yeah, go to hell, Islanders fans. Just wanted to start off by getting that out of the way. I'm just kidding, but you guys are all right. But your team sucks, and yeah, that is a frustrating way to lose what would have been a good night, because the Flyers, they played a good game. The Capitals thankfully saved my night with Dylan Strome. Man, Dylan Strome breaking down through the neutral zone in overtime. Just seconds left in overtime, and I'm sitting here. I swear, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, please just give me this. Just give me this. Because if the Caps lose and the Flyers lose, it's a bad night, even though the Carolina Hurricanes won the small bet that I had on them to beat the Edmonton Oilers. So Dylan Strome ending it in overtime with just seconds left. Really, really needed that one. Saved my night. Made it a profitable night. And yeah, it made it a profitable night with going 2-1. The Caps winning in overtime 4-3 over the Sabres, coming back from down 0-2, and the Flyers, not getting the job done, but the Canes getting the job done pretty easily against the Oilers. So, yeah, no games on Thursday. There are 15 games on Friday, though, and I'll be providing projections and picks for all of them on today's show, which is sponsored by NorthStar Bets. So check out NorthStar Bets via the link in the description below. They offer early odds on the next day's NHL games, which we appreciate here on the Puck Portfolio. First up, we're going to look at the NHL schedule. Now, there are a bunch of teams playing back to back here on Friday and Saturday, and that makes things a little bit tough to handicap here. I mean, we've got close to a dozen games, close to a dozen teams, if not more, playing back to back on Saturday after playing on Friday, and that's going to make it tough to predict who's going to start in goal in a lot of these games. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind here as we get into the projections. I've got three bets that I'm locking in so far for Friday's action. Some interest in some other ones, but yeah, just three bets that I'm going to be locking in for today. So keep that in mind. Don't jump the gun here on anything before I get a chance to lock it in. So we'll get started here. We'll pull up the projections. We've got a pair of games kicking things off on Friday early, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Starting things off, the Detroit Red Wings at the Boston Bruins. Now, the Red Wings, they returned from Sweden, blanked the Devils 4-0 on Wednesday. The Boston Bruins beat the Florida Panthers 3-1. And then, like I said, this is the first half of a back to back for the Bruins. They are going to play the Rangers at MSG on Saturday. And this is going to be a good one. The first two games between these teams were very entertaining. But I don't have a lot of betting interest in this one here. It's looking like I've got some small value showing on the Boston Bruins. But of course, things will change a little bit depending on who it is, Olmark or Swayman. Both very good, don't get me wrong, but Swayman has been great this season, and he's been giving the Bruins a little bit more of the lift. So if we look around here at some different sports books like NorthStar Bets, we will see that the Red Wings are plus 160 on the money line, and the Boston Bruins are minus 192. My projection model says the Bruins should be a minus 193 favorite. So, yeah, not a lot of interest there in this one. But I got some interest in the next one. I'm just not going to be acting yet. Okay. Because there is a little bit to go over here. The Rangers, they held on for the 1-0 win over the Penguins on Wednesday. Another shutout for Jonathan Quick. What the hell is going on here? The Flyers, they lost 3-2 to the Islanders. As I said, they looked really good though. Of course, Ilya Sorokin is a goaltender that can do that to you. Both the Flyers and the Rangers play again on Saturday here, so not sure if it's going to be Carter Hart again versus the Islanders on Saturday, or if they'll start him on Friday versus the Rangers. Maybe he plays both games back to back. I don't know. But there is a chance that Samuel Ersson gets a start. And if that happens, then things will change a lot in terms of the Flyers' chances of winning a given game. And conversely, the Rangers, I mean, they've got two options here in Igor Shesterkin, who got Wednesday night off, and Jonathan Quick, who, according to my Rangers reporter friend, Arthur Staple, he thinks the Rangers are going to be trying to get Jonathan Quick as much rest as possible here. So maybe they don't want to roll right back to him on Friday. Maybe they want to wait till Saturday. Maybe they play Igor Shesterkin in back-to-back games here, in two important games against the Rangers or against the Bruins, sorry, and the Flyers. So yeah, I mean, it's Flyers or nothing right now. Would not play them though if Samuel Ersson is in goal, and that's what's keeping me off. So if Carter Hart's in goal, I might make a small bet on the Philadelphia Flyers right now at plus 128. Those are the current odds at NorthStar Bet. That would only be a 0.3 unit play. So I'm looking for Jonathan Quick to start. I know he's been good, but I'm looking for Jonathan Quick to start. If that happens, I would back the Flyers for a half a unit, at least at plus 128. So that's one to monitor, but nothing right now in the two early games. We've got another game coming up at the 2 p.m. Eastern slot, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs, the first half of a back-to-back for the Maple Leafs, who will play the Penguins in Pittsburgh on Saturday. So not sure what's going to happen there, whether they'll save Ilya Samsonov for the game against the Penguins or go to Joseph Wall for that game, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, this is, like I said, the first half of a back-to-back for the Maple Leafs, and it's their first game back since coming back from Sweden. A successful trip for the Maple Leafs. They got 2 wins over in Sweden. Now they're back. Not necessarily an advantage. I know we saw the Red Wings shut out the Devils last night with some rest, but you never know what kind of travel mix up teams might have had, what kind of how that might have cut into their rest. So I'm not looking at it as an advantage, just treating it, kind of no differently than I would any other team that had 4 or 5 days off. And if I see something that's a little bit that sticks out as something that is a little bit off market, well, I'll approach it with caution, and that's what I'm going to do here. I've got the Maple Leafs as a bigger favorite than the betting market does right now, minus 241 according to the projection model. So maybe the market is seeing something that I'm not here in terms of what the Maple Leafs are up against with that extended layoff, with the travel, etc. So I might throw Toronto into a parlay, maybe just something for fun. Just to get through the early part of the day here without a whole lot of action, or what's likely looking like not a whole lot of action on the early part of the day on Friday. Might throw the Leafs into a parlay. They're an option for sure, but really, I mean, they aren't playing that well. You look at their expected goals for percentage in the month of November, which which covers about 8 games, actually. So it's 46.2% in all situations. They've scored 49% of the goals, roughly. Not great, not an elite team by any means. Certainly not playing one. I know they've got some elite players and whatnot, but I'm not going to be reaching here on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think, like I said, I'll end up throwing them into some parlays. But what I am going to do to reach a little bit on here is the Blue Jackets. Now, the Devils, if they get goaltending, they'll be fine. In all likelihood, they'll end up being one of the best teams, one of the top teams in the NHL. But there's a lot of holes in that lineup right now. Of course, we could expect to see Nico Hischier back on Friday, and I'm expecting to see him back in the lineup for the Devils. Not sure if we'll see Timo Meier back. I've got him listed at 50-50 right now. But they're going to be in action, the Devils, again on Saturday when they host the Sabres. So not sure who will start in goal. The Blue Jackets, I would hope they would go with Elvis Merzlikins in a game like this against a team like the Devils with so much offensive firepower, players like Jack Hughes, et cetera, coming at you. Merzlikins has been good, but the Blue Jackets, I mean, we all know the story. It's been Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau getting benched, getting sat during games. Laine even was a healthy scratch a couple of games ago, but things are probably going to start turning the corner a little bit for this team here now that they've gotten through a tough part of their schedule, a really condensed part of their schedule, and they've got some things going on offense, right? And the Devils, they're a team that's probably going to be looking for some offense after getting blanked 4-0 by the Red Wings on Wednesday on the road, a place where they were really good last season, but now they're home, and I think this one here, it's Blue Jackets or nothing. The model has the Columbus Blue Jackets as a plus 184 underdog. You can get Blue Jackets right now at plus 200 at NorthStar Bets. I'm locking that in for a half unit play on the Blue Jackets. So 0.5 units to win 1 unit on the Columbus Blue Jackets. And that'll be my first play for Friday. Now we've got Nashville in St. Louis taking on the Blues, and you've got to like what you've seen out of the Blues. And what a wild game on Wednesday against the Coyotes! Just the leads going back and forth, ties being broken all game long. Ended 6-5 in favor of the Blues, who were on the road as an underdog. They got the job done. Their second win in 3 games versus the Coyotes this season. So yeah, you've got to like what you see out of the Blues here. They've got a pretty good expected goals for percentage in all situations in the month of November, sitting at number 8 in the NHL right now, 53.94%. The Predators up at 54.2%. And Nashville, I mean, scoring a larger or scoring about the same amount of goals in all situations on aggregate as the St. Louis Blues. So 55% roughly on both sides here. I don't think the Preds should be a plus 116 underdog. I think this game is a coin flip. I've still got Nashville as the better team, assuming that UC Saros is in goal for the Preds. So I'm locking in the Nashville Predators at plus 116 at NorthStar Bets because the model thinks that this game should be, like I said, a coin flip, plus 101. So a small underdog. That's what it thinks the Nashville Predators should be. They're not. They're plus 116 at NorthStar Bets. So I'm going to lock that one in right now on the Nashville Predators. I think that's a really good price here, especially considering where the rest of the market is at. We are seeing a lot of places where I think it should be at even money. So I doubt that price on the Predators is going to stick around for long. Check it out. 1 unit on the Predators plus 116 to win 1.16 units. And Edmonton, man, they lost again on Wednesday, this time to Carolina by a score of 6-3. Thankfully for us, because we had that small play to win a half unit on the Carolina Hurricanes. Ended up being, that's how much we profited on Wednesday, a half unit profit, going 2-1. Could have been bad. Could have been a minus 2 unit night if the Capitals and the Flyers failed to get the job done. But of course, the Caps came back, helped us out there. But yeah, Edmonton in Washington on Friday, they were down 2 goals versus the Sabres, erased 2 deficits, 2-0 and 3-2, won the game in the final seconds of overtime, 4-3. This Washington team, I mean, I think they could be a team that will make the Oilers look a lot faster than they've looked as of late against some of the teams that they've been playing. This Washington team, While pretty good, they're slow. They're old and slow, and that can't be discounted. So I do think that there is a bit of an advantage for the Oilers here. But look, Edmonton's dead in the water, guys. I mean, 37% playoff chances, according to the projection model. You can see that. You can check that out at canadasportsbetting.ca. I tweeted it out this morning, so you can check out that post, follow the link, and see updated projections for all 32 teams. But yeah, the Oilers sitting at 37% right now to make the 38%, sorry, to make the playoffs. Not in a good spot at all. That's a tough spot to be in because they've got about 4 or 5 weeks left here of some a really tough stretch of their schedule. It gets early after January 1st, but it's going to be too late by the looks of things. It's going to be too late. The Oilers are not going to be able to make up this kind of ground. I saw Frank Saravelli from Daily Faceoff tweet out last night that ineffective math said that the Oilers were their playoff chances had dropped below 50% for the first time all season. I mean, you'd be better off consulting a pen and paper. That guy builds a new model every season and it's never good. So I don't know why anybody is caring what his playoff odds are. Finishes last in every prediction contest. I'd say something about this on Twitter, but I don't have the time. People love the whole hockey viz thing. They love the money puck thing. Neither of those models have done a good job over the years predicting long-term forecasts. Both finish at the bottom of the standings every season when you're looking at how prediction models did in terms of their preseason predictions. But yet they're the two models that everybody references. I mean, it's kind of a joke. Nobody cares about the efficacy of anything. They don't care about whether or not there's any proven accuracy here. It's just some nerd builds a model, calls it Alice or something or some other weird name to kind of be weird and out there, like they're AI or something, or I don't know. But it's super weird, and nobody seems to actually look at the finer details, like who's doing a good job every year. Oh, Andy and Don Lucian from the Athletic, they do good jobs. They do a good job predicting future success in the NHL every single season. But whatever, you guys can keep quoting Money Puck and Hockey Viz. Go be my guest. But anyway, we're not going to be betting on the Washington Capitals or the Edmonton Oilers here because this one minus 110 on each side. The Oilers. Oh, maybe I am going to end up betting on the Edmonton Oilers. God damn it. I'm not happy about that, but yeah, okay. Well, I didn't know that it was there. Minus 110. The Oilers should be, yeah, your second. That's right. Josh in the chat saying that Dom Lucian from the Athletic is his second favorite because Andy's your favorite, right? I promise I won't talk in the third person anymore. That's really lame. I got to stop doing that. Anyway, NorthStar Bets minus 110 on each side for the Edmonton. Oh, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's go with the Oilers. They're big time losers. I'm going to put a half unit on the Edmonton Oilers here. Probably scaling this down. I don't have time to look at what the exact risk should be, but they're minus 122 at FanDuel. Minus 115 at some other sports books. So, relatively speaking, minus 110, best price you'll find in the market. And I'll risk to win. I'll risk almost 0.55 units to win 0.5 units on the Edmonton Oilers. And yeah, we'll lock that in too. Why not, right? I mean, if there is a game that the Oilers are going to win, it might be this one. But probably not because that's just my gut talking. I mean, the model says they're going to win 54.5% of the time. My gut says they're going to win 4.5% of the time. I don't know, but yeah, everything's just going wrong for the Oilers right now. There is also, I think, when things are going this wrong, man, it's like every single mistake you start to get this like kind of idea that okay, the goaltending is so bad that every mistake that the defense makes should end up in the back of the net. Obviously, that's not the case. The goaltending has to be better. As bad as the Oilers look on defense sometimes, you need your goalie to come up with a big save, help you out every once in a while, right? And they haven't been getting that enough from Stuart Skinner. I would be surprised. I mean, maybe this season is just a throwaway, but I would be surprised if they're not on the phones, like calling about a guy like Mackenzie Blackwood, who's in San Jose just getting peppered every night, but still, playing pretty good, all things considered. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with the Oilers and the Washington Capitals. The Ducks, man, they almost pulled off another multi-goal comeback on Wednesday. They're tied for the league lead with 3 multi-goal comebacks this season. They lead the NHL with 6 come from behind wins, but Montreal said not this time. They almost blew it. It was 3-3 late in the game, but the Canadians were able to pull ahead and get the win as dogs on the road. And now the Anaheim Ducks are facing the Los Angeles Kings at home. The Kings, man, they're a perfect 8-0 on the road. All of those wins, all 8 of those wins coming in regulation. The model thinks that LA should be a minus 189 favorite. And what are we seeing here at NorthStar Bets? I don't think it's minus 189. That's for sure. It is minus. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Sorry about that. Minus 167. So I can justify risking. I can justify risking 1.67 units to win 1 unit on the LA Kings. Now, the first half of a back-to-back for the Kings. Hopefully they start Cam Talbot in this one and not Phoenix Copley. But it really doesn't matter here. I've projected Copley to get the start, and the Kings are still a big favorite. So I'm going to lock in the LA Kings at minus 167 on the money line. I mean, I would almost rather play this one on the regulation line if I'm being honest, but it's so early that nothing is out there. Nothing's available right now on the regulation line. But this one should be widely available at around minus 166 or minus 167. Locking that one in to win 1 unit. So 4 bets. I lied. We've got 4 bets already so far today because I had overlooked the small edge on the Edmonton Oilers that I'm going to take advantage of here. And I mean, I might end up with some more bets before the end of this show because as I look here, things just keep popping up. But Montreal, San Jose, things don't get much worse than this, right, Jake?
Yeah, this is the only one I predicted the Habs having a chance in, and then they surprised me and beat Anaheim. So I don't know. Maybe they're gonna have a good West Coast road trip this time.
Maybe. Well, the Habs are minus 119 favorites on the money line, according to NorthStar Bet. Not quite the best price out in the market. I'm seeing a minus 115 out there. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could lock in the Habs now too. I mean, I might have to throw the Habs and the Leafs in a parlay here, in a 2-team parlay. Um, because I don't really love either bet. Both are showing some edges here on the model. I just don't feel that great about them. I feel especially after the Sharks get absolutely spanked by the Seattle Kraken on Wednesday. They're gonna try to clean up some things. They're gonna know that they're in a winnable game versus the Montreal Canadiens. Probably a lot different mindset heading into a game like that. So I'm a little bit worried there arbitrarily about the San Jose Sharks and, making the Canadians such big favorites. The model thinks they should be minus 128 on the money line. That means they win the game roughly 56% of the time. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to revisit this later in the show. Maybe there will be a third team that I can justify throwing into a 3-teamer, a parlay for Friday, and we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I'm not gonna act on this one right now. Pittsburgh Penguins, like I said, they're playing the second half of a back-to-back on Saturday, but they're hosting the Oilers or the Buffalo Sabres. Sorry, or they're not hosting; they're on the road in Buffalo, and both the Peds and the Sabres will play again on Saturday. So that'll be interesting here. I'm projecting that Alex Nedeljkovic will be in goal. I mean, the Pens are playing the Rangers again on Saturday. They just lost 1-0 to the Rangers on Wednesday night. So look, I'd imagine that losing 1-0, only allowing 1 goal is enough to earn Tristan Jarry another start against the Rangers. So I'm going to project that Nedeljkovic, the backup goalie, will get the start against the Buffalo Sabres. And while I think that does hurt the Penguins' chances of winning here, They're minus 105, even money at some sports books here. So I'm betting 1 unit on the Pittsburgh Penguins, my 1.05 units at NorthStar Bets on the Pittsburgh Penguins to win 1 unit. This Penguins team, they're very, very frustrating. I don't think their goaltending is helping them out by any means. Nedeljkovic, though, coming off that shutout versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So it'll be interesting here to see what happens with Pittsburgh and their goaltending. But this Sabres team, I don't know who they're planning on starting. Maybe it's Eric Comrie, maybe it's Devin Levi. Either way, I don't know why people are still so high on this Sabres team, especially without Tage Thompson. I mean, he is such a big part of this lineup. So I'm on the Pittsburgh Penguins here at minus 105 to win 1 unit. Shop around. There's some even money minus 105 because you can also find as bad as minus 110 out there. And nobody wants that. So minus 105 to win 1 unit on the Pittsburgh Penguins Friday versus the Buffalo Sabres. So, yeah, I was absolutely full of crap here today because I've already got 5 bets locked in for Friday. I thought I was only going to have 3 that I would be able to, justify locking in at this time. But the more and more I work through things here, the more it makes sense to get down on some of these games early. I will not be getting down on this next game, though, because I've had absolutely no interest. This is the first game for Ottawa since their successful trip to Sweden for the NHL Global Series. The Sens beat the Red Wings in overtime and then beat the Wild in a shootout to grab 4 points. They're hosting the Islanders on Friday. And yeah, I mean, this Islanders team, little tricky to nail down. I do not think they're very good. I don't think they're good at anything in particular. I think they just totally sit back and rely on their goaltending, and when that works, it works really well, like it did on Wednesday against the Flyers. They did not, force the issue there against the Flyers at all. They let the Flyers come at them in waves a lot of the time, and yeah, they just sit back, collapse around the net, protect the net. They do a good job of that. And Ilya Sorokin usually stops most of what he sees. So the model thinks that the Senators should be a very small favorite, minus 108. They're minus 115 at NorthStar Bets. I'm not going to be betting on this one by the looks of things unless things change a whole lot, and they probably will not. So moving on, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, Lightning head coach John Cooper told reporters on Wednesday that we should expect to see Andrei Vasilevsky play on the team's upcoming road trip, 3-game road trip, which begins in Carolina on Friday. The Lightning, they'll have 2 days off after Friday's game against the Hurricanes, but they'll play back-to-back games against the Avalanche and Coyotes on Monday and Tuesday. So when does Vasilevsky slot in? Does he slot in versus Carolina on Friday? Did they get him in there? See how he does. If he looks good, maybe they get him into one of these back-to-back games as well. Or do they wait, to play him against the Avalanche, or more likely the Arizona Coyotes on the second half of a back-to-back? Hard to say, but I would not be surprised to see him in here. And if he is, I would bet on the Lightning at plus 135. So right now, the Lightning, according to the projection model, should be a plus 155 underdog against the Hurricanes. Now, if Vasilevsky is back in the lineup, I'm going to have to do a little bit of guesswork here because he is coming off an injury. He's going to be rusty, has not played any games yet. That is something that definitely concerns me. So it's not like just a switch where he didn't play the last game, now he's back in, or we were projecting Jonas Johansson to start, and now a fresh and healthy Vasilevsky, the Vasilevsky that we're used to, is back in the lineup. We don't know if that's going to be the case, but there's a good chance that Vasilevsky is going to be better than Jonas Johansson, regardless. So it's going to be a big difference anyway. So from a plus 155 underdog down to around a plus 125 underdog. That's my estimate of what Vasilevsky means to this team in the short term if he is inserted into this game. So yeah, I would certainly bet on the Lightning at plus 135 if Andrei Vasilevsky is in goal. Otherwise, no interest because the Hurricanes are minus 167 favorite. So that means that I'm right in the middle. I'm pretty much where the odds makers are saying this one should be. I just don't have the luxury of tacking some big on both the home and the away side to inflate those odds a little bit. But yeah, anyway, we will move on to some of the games that I still have some interest, or one of the games that I have a little bit of interest in. But look, Panthers captain Alexander Barkov, he's missed the last 2 games. Thought he might be back in the lineup on Wednesday against the Bruins. He was not, but he has been skating though, and he could return to the lineup as early as Friday when the Panthers host the Winnipeg Jets. So that is something to watch there. I am going to include him in the lineup. My projection on the screen there has the Panthers as a minus 133 favorite. That is if Barkov is in the lineup. They'll be closer to, it'll be closer to a coin flip if he is not in the lineup. Obviously, he's a big difference maker, but on neutral ice at full strength, assuming both teams are healthy, the Panthers, I still think they're a better team than the Jets. I think the Panthers have been really good this year, and you look at some of the other data that we don't necessarily have access to, but some of it pops up on Twitter sometimes from some different outlets, and I was looking at rush chances versus cycle chances generated throughout the league this season. The Panthers are pretty much the one of the best cycle teams, arguably the best cycle team in the NHL. So right up there with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who probably are the best cycle team right now in the NHL. But the Panthers right up there, and they just really grind you down. It matches what you see when you watch Panthers games. They really, really grind you down in the offensive zone, and they're pretty good on the rush too. So definitely a dangerous offense. And when their goaltending is good, they can pick up a lot of wins. So they are one to watch, I guess, here if Barkov is back in the lineup. But if not, you got to play the Jets. I would not play the Panthers either way because they're a minus 147 favorite on the money line at NorthStar Bets. And that means that the bookmakers, the odds makers, they're probably anticipating Barkov being back in the lineup as well. So if he's not, you can try to capitalize on that a little bit with the Jets at plus 123. But that'll be something that you probably don't hear about until game time. I'm going to guess he'll be a game time decision if the team doesn't come out and outright say, like, he will be back in the lineup. And the Calgary Flames, they're going to be in Dallas taking on the Dallas Stars. And Calgary, they haven't beat anybody of note this season. And you look at their schedule. The Flames, they picked up a win over the Jets on opening night. They beat the Canucks decisively about a week ago. The Canucks playing on the second half of a back-to-back with their backup goalie. But other than that, their wins have come against Nashville, who they lost to last night on Wednesday, Seattle, Buffalo, and Montreal. So, I mean, nothing really of note there. They always play the Stars tight, and I expect that to be the case again here. But they're playing a back-to-back set here. I would imagine Markstrom will be in goal on Friday, but you never know. You never know who will be in goal for the Flames on Friday when they take on the Dallas Stars. But regardless, not and really interested in this one. The model thinks that Nashville should be, or sorry, the model thinks that Calgary should be a plus 168 underdog. I'm looking at too many teams here. They're a plus 160 underdog on the money line here, plus 148 at NorthStar Bets, minus 179 on the other side for the Dallas Stars. So no interest there. The Flames, they play the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday. So I don't think I'm going to have any action on that one, and I'm not really interested here in Calgary, or sorry, in Vancouver and Seattle. This one looks like a coin flip. That's what the model has. 50-50 chance, basically. I do have some interest though in Colorado. They're on the road taking on the Wild in the Wild's first game since returning from Sweden. Not a good trip for the Wild. They picked up a couple of points in extra time. But other than that, not a successful trip. They're really struggling right now. And I think the Avalanche should be a bigger favorite. Minus 144, according to the model. Minus 135 at NorthStar Bets. So I'm going to lock a half unit play in on the Avalanche here. And that'll finish things up. It's going to be a big Friday with 6 bets now on the money line. And shop around for this one, though, because I'm looking here. Bet 365 minus 150. Minus 145 at the score bet. NorthStar Bets, though, minus 135. Locking that in to win a half unit on the Colorado Avalanche against the Minnesota Wild. So I'm going to recap the bets quickly uh, right away, and then we will get into some year-to-date betting trends really quickly before we take off. So the Nashville Predators over the St. Louis Blues on the money line, plus 116. All of these bets are on the money line. The Edmonton Oilers minus 110 on the money line over the Washington Capitals. That's 0.55 units to win 0.5 units. The Columbus Blue Jackets plus 200 on the money line. That's 0.5 units to win 1 unit. The Los Angeles Kings minus 167. That's to win 1 unit. The Pittsburgh Penguins to win 1 unit at minus 105 over the Buffalo Sabres. And lastly, the Colorado Avalanche to win a half a unit at minus 135 over the Minnesota Wild. Big day for Friday playing. And we're going to have a big day for Saturday because we'll be back on Friday touching up, recapping what value we might have accumulated overnight, and also catching up on goalie confirmations and injuries and things like that. Early starts tomorrow, so I imagine lots of news will be coming out on Friday while we're doing the Friday episode of the Puck Portfolio. And then once we get through that, we will look ahead to Saturday's games because we got another big slate on Saturday with hockey all day long. But yeah, that does it for the picks. Let's look at some year-to-date betting trends, shall we? If we could bring that up on the screen here. I think that this will be really illuminating for some people because there are some really bad takes out there. I mean, there's this one jackoff that works for Sportsnet. I avoided him like the plague when I was there for a short time because I just didn't think I could fake liking this person. But one of the yahoos that likes to talk about gambling on Twitter regularly. I remember they wrote a piece a year or two ago on Sportsnet talking about how gambling odds are made to get people to bet, not they don't reflect what actually happens, and that could not be further from the truth. I mean, just look at this year to date. The gambling odds actually do a great job of reflecting what's going to happen. If they didn't, then people who can do a good job at estimating what will happen would bet the odds that are wrong, that are off. I mean, um, it's just it just shows a total fundamental lack of knowledge when it comes to gambling to think that the odds don't actually reflect what we'd expect to happen. These are essentially predictions or measurements, I guess you could say, based on all the available information that we've had. If the sharp bettors out there had an opinion that differed from the public perception of a team, well, that's going to be factored into the market price. Even if the public loves this team, the sports books aren't going to shade their lines so that the public will bet a game, because that will open them up to get beat on the other side by the sharp bettors, or at least not shade their lines so much so that it would open them up. So I mean, this should show you right now that things are very much as they seem in the NHL. You bet a home team at minus 115 odds, it's going to perform like a minus 115 bet more often than not. That's just what you're getting. I mean, um, it's the same pretty much every year too. The markets are very efficient relative to what and what you might see in some less popular sports, but the NA are not as efficient, sorry, as compared to what you might see in some more popular sports. The NHL not as popular, of course, as the NBA or the NFL, etc., but still pretty efficient nonetheless. I mean, if there's a good bet to be made out there, sharp bettors will make it, and they'll correct the line and make sure that the line is in line with what we think will happen. And this matches up pretty well with historical averages too, historical trends. You only really start to see things deviate from the what we see historically when things are really out of whack. When you have a team that goes to overtime every other game, maybe things will start to be shaded a little bit towards that in the betting market. But in general, I mean, you tell me that you don't, or if you tell me that a team is minus 150 on the money line, I can tell you that they're going to be plus 160 on the puck line to win by 2 goals or more, and they're probably going to be about plus 110 on the regulation line. That's just how things are. The all of these markets move in lockstep. They're correlated. They work in tandem. They all come from the same distribution, right? I mean, when you look at a team's odds of winning overtime and shootout included, you're just adding that on to what their odds are of winning in regulation. I mean, it all comes together when you start to actually make the predictions yourself, and you really start to get a handle on things. So hopefully this will help you out. I would definitely recommend taking a screenshot here. This is updated as of Wednesday's game, so I updated it this morning, and it'll give you a little bit of insight into what markets might be a little bit inflated on average, on which side. Take the home favorite on the puck line, for example. You're winning around what, 35% of the time, according to the chart there. But you're betting odds that represent a 40% chance. So you are nowhere near the break even percentage, the percentage you need to win at in order to win some money, or even just break even here. So this will help you answer some of those questions that you have for me sometimes, like, hey Andy, why don't you bet teams on the regulation line, and why don't you bet teams on the puck line? Because more often than not, if I've got a big edge on a team on the money line is going to be the best place for me to put my bet down, because there is some little things when it comes to the puck line and the regulation line, like they seem to shade towards the home team a little bit. So if I've got a big favorite that's a home team that I really like, that I think should be a bigger favorite, and I see them, at a good price on the money line, I'm probably just going to opt to bet them on the money line more often than not, because odds makers do shade things on the puck line and the regulation line a little more. So while I still might have a big edge on the regulation line or the puck line, the chances are I'm going to have an even bigger edge on the money line. So that's where I focus my attention. But yeah, that does it for Thursday's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Thanks for joining me. Good luck with your bets on Friday. If you have not already, like the video and subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel. It really helps out a ton. And we'll see you on Friday to preview Friday's games once again and look ahead to Saturday. So yeah, thanks y'all for joining me. Thanks, Jake, for producing the show. Sorry for not shutting up every once in a while and giving you a chance to jump in. But if you've got anything you want to add, or anything you didn't get a chance to squeeze in, now's the time to do it.
Oh, no, not much. Just injury announcement. I don't know if you saw Taylor Hall out for the season with knee surgery. Kind of came down right when we started broadcasting. So a little bit of unfortunate injury news there for Taylor Hall and the Blackhawks.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's a good time to happen, because I mean, I think he just had a new baby, so I mean, not a bad time to be home and with the family. But yeah, that sucks. I actually, just for what it's worth, I did not include Hall in the projection model. I took him out of the Blackhawks roster for their game against the Maple Leafs, because it did sound like he was going to be out at least longer than short term. But yeah, now out for the entire season. That's a big blow. The Blackhawks, they looked like they had some jump a little bit earlier in the season, but now they're looking just about as bad as ever. I mean, not even Connor Bedard's going to be able to save this team, at least by himself. So, man, that's a tough loss for the Blackhawks, and I guess a tough loss for anybody that took Hall in their fantasy pool, thinking that he would rack up a bunch of points playing on Bedard's wing, because that hasn't been the case with all the injuries that he's been experiencing this season. But yeah, if you have not already, please subscribe to the show, the channel, and get notified when we go live Monday to Friday. We'll be back on Friday for another show. Please like this video. Tell your friends about it. Tell your hockey friends and sports betting friends. Even if they don't like hockey, there is sports betting value here. And even if your friends don't like sports betting, hey, there's some good hockey insight here as well that you might like to pick up on. So check it out, and do what you can to help me get the word out here. Word of mouth helps out more than anything else, I think. So thanks for joining me. Appreciate you all. Good luck with your bets on Friday, and enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday.